A dusty lot explodes as a woman's rage scars her ex's truck liar, etched in steel. An antenna snapped in fury. He fights back, armed with photos demanding cash for her outburst. In a tense courtroom, a steely judge sifts truth from heat, pinning her with a costly verdict. Will anger's price break her? Dive into this gripping clash where passion meets proof. A scratch ignites justice, and a blazing day's fury echoes with questions of regret and redemption. The air outside the Saguaro Shadows trailer park on the eastern fringe of Tucson, Arizona, hung heavy with the mingled scents of dust kicked up from the gravel paths and the faint tang of creosote wafting from the surrounding desert. Under a blazing August noon, its oppressive stillness pierced by the sharp, escalating shout of a woman's voice, slicing through the drone of cicadas. The trailer park, a sprawling grid of sun-bleached mobile homes with rusted awnings and faded lawn chairs, sat nestled off Kolb Road, its gravel lanes shimmering with heat waves rising from the cracked earth, the sun beating down on corrugated roofs that glinted like mirrors in the relentless light. The day was sweltering, a punishing 104 degrees by midday, the sky a vast, unrelenting blue, streaked with wisps of cloud that offered no relief, the air thick with the dry bite of summer that clung to the skin and sharpened every sound. The crunch of gravel under boots, the distant hum of a semi on the highway, the steady clatter of a wind chime swaying in the faint, hot breeze. Ellie Harper, 29, a bartender with a fiery edge, forged by 6 years pouring shots at the Dusty Cactus Saloon, and a quiet resilience honed through late-night fights and heartbreak, stood just beyond the chain-link fence of Nate Brooks's trailer at 12:45 p.m., her black tank top clinging to her sweat-slicked frame, her auburn hair pulled into a messy bun that swayed in the faint wind, her steady green eyes blazing with a mix of fury and betrayal. Her hands trembling as she clutched a key from her pocket, her breath sharp with the heat and the sting of his lies as she faced him, her life, a jagged rhythm of serving and surviving since her mother's death 3 years prior, her presence unassuming, yet volatile until it erupted. She'd met Nate Brooks 2 years ago at the saloon, a spilled beer, turning into a year of passion and promises, his charm a lifeline she'd clung to until his cheating shattered it, her key a weapon she'd wielded in a moment of rage. Nate Brooks, 31, a welder with a smug grin and a reputation for smooth talk, etched into his 8-year stint at Tucson Metalworks, leaned against his prized Dodge Ram parked in the gravel drive, his blue eyes glinting with amusement beneath a sweat-stained cap. His lean frame, relaxed beneath a faded t-shirt, rolled to the elbows, his breath even with the faint tang of the Coors he'd cracked at 12:30 p.m. after a morning welding beams downtown. He'd climbed out of Tucson's rough edges through grit and guile, his father a mechanic who'd taught him to fix anything, his confidence a mask forged in a world where promises were cheap and debts were dodged, his mind a tangle of defiance and a quick wit that had kept him afloat. He'd spotted Ellie storming across the trailer park, her voice rising as she yelled about his lies, his sharp voice cutting through the heat at 12:45 p.m. "Ellie, cool it, you're nuts, it's my truck!" Ellie stepped closer, her steady green eyes flashing, her voice sharp, measured. "You're a liar, Nate. I keyed it, so what?" Nate laughed, a harsh edge slicing the air. "Prove it, babe. Sue me, you'll lose." What unfolded was swift and searing. Ellie lunged her key, raking across the truck's hood, carving "liar" in jagged letters, her left hand snapping the antenna with a crack that echoed off the trailer, her sharp shout piercing the heat. "That's for cheating." Nate lunged back, his hand grabbing her wrist, his voice barking, "You're done. $2,600, you'll pay for that." Ellie yanked free, her steady gaze flaring with fury, her voice low, cutting through the dust. "Sue me then, this ain't over." Nate froze, his blue eyes narrowing as the weight of her act sank in his smug grin faltering. "You bet I will see you in court, psycho." The clash landed like a stone in the dust trailer park, neighbors peering from windows, kids pausing, a dog barking the cicada's drone, underscoring the tension. Ellie storming off, her steady hands shaking as she pocketed the key, her voice a whisper to herself. "He'll see." Nate saw proof of her ruin. Ellie saw rage unleashed a spark to her fire, honed by years of pouring drinks and swallowing pain. He filed a small claims suit that week at the Pima County Courthouse clerk's window, August 15th. His steady hands, firm as he signed his T-shirt, swapped for a clean shirt. His voice gruff. "She trashed my truck, owes me $2,600. Their clash ignited a storm over fury and truth. Tucson's blazing noon, pressing down like a judge's scrutiny, waiting to fall, the city's dusty trails a quiet witness to her outburst. The Pima County Courthouse buzzed on a crisp September morning, its marble halls reverberating with the echo of footsteps that bounced off the polished floors like a steady drumbeat, threading through the cool, dry air. The scent of polished oak, blending with the faint musk of old files, stacked in dusty corners, their edges yellowed and curling from years of handling, and the brittle chill that seeped through the walls after August's relentless heat, and the sharp tang of coffee wafting from paper, cups clutched by restless hands, its bitter aroma drifting through the space like a ghost of hurried mornings. The small claims courtroom, perched on the second floor, was a modest chamber with oak benches, worn smooth by decades of Tucson's disputes, landlord battles, settled with terse nods or bitter glares that hung heavy in the air. Petty theft cases hashed out in clipped exchanges of blame and defense that left the room taut with unresolved tension, property claims ending in reluctant nods or hollow promises that faded into the low hum of whispered conversations. Its walls were lined with faded maps of Arizona, their edges curling under the weight of time, and the cool air that slipped through the high windows, their glass clear, and streaked with the faint frost of an early fall, offering fleeting glimpses of Tucson's skyline beyond its adobe buildings, and the distant, shimmering ribbon of the Santa Cruz River, glowing faintly under a pale, overcast sky. At the front, behind a raised bench scarred with nicks and pen marks that traced decades of rulings and late-night deliberations over yellowed files, sat Judge Henry Walsh, 62. His short gray hair, combed neatly accentuating the sharp lines of his weathered face, etched by years of courtroom battles and Arizona summers, his blue eyes sharp with a quiet intensity that sliced through the room's stillness like a hawk spotting prey across the Santa Cruz's dry expanse, seeing through bluster and bravado to the raw truth beneath a gaze that missed nothing and weighed everything with unflinching precision. His robe hung crisp over a firm frame, tempered by years of disciplined broad shoulders. From his days as a rancher in Yuma before law school, his voice steady with authority, as it once called out to cattle across windy plains. Hands steady from wielding gavels and pens, their knuckles faintly knotted from gripping justice, with a clarity that left no room for evasion. His voice, a firm, steady drawl, honed by 30 years on the bench, carrying a steel, forged through countless courtroom tangles, as he called the case, his tone cutting through the crisp air, like a whip cracking over a silent desert. Brooks versus Harper truck damage claim, $2,600 sought. Let's hear it, folks, and keep it tight. I want facts, not feelings. We're here for evidence, not excuses. My docket's full, and this chill's not waiting for dawdling, so let's move. Nate Brooks sat at the plaintiff's table, flanked by his counsel, Tom Ellis, a wiry attorney with a pressed suit that fit snug on his slight frame, his sharp brown eyes darting between his client and the bench. A quick pen dancing across his notepad as he tracked every word. Evidence meticulously stacked before them. A thick folder of repair estimates, photos, witness affidavits. His smug grin steady but brittle as he adjusted his posture. A faint sheen of sweat beading on his forehead despite the cool air. His blue eyes hard with resolve, his lean frame tense beneath a clean T-shirt swapped for his usual work gear. His breath, even as he braced for the fight, the faint whiff of welding smoke lingering from a morning at Tucson Metalworks. His lawyer's presence, a shield he'd leaned on to press claims since Ellie's outburst hit. He'd built his life on welding, 8 years fusing steel, a truck he'd prized, now a battleground, his confidence, a mask now steady, as Henry took the bench, his resolve a steel thread woven through his claim. Ellie Harper stood at the defendant's table, flanked by her counsel, Sarah Mills, a wiry attorney with a rumpled suit that hung loose on her slight frame, her sharp green eyes darting between her client and the bench. a quick pen dancing across her notepad as she tracked every word. Papers thin and neatly arranged before them. Little more than a handwritten note and a few receipts. Her fiery edge, tense but brittle, as she adjusted her posture, her steady green eyes glinting with defiance, her lean frame, rigid beneath a black blouse, swapped for her usual tank top. Her breath sharp with the sting of nerves fueling her fight, the faint whiff of tequila lingering from a late shift at the dusty Cactus Saloon. Her lawyer's presence a shield she'd leaned on to deflect blame, since Nate's suit landed her resolve afire that flickered beneath her calm, her mind racing with the fallout bar bets souring since the truck hit the news. Henry leaned forward, his elbows resting firmly on the bench, his blue eyes scanning the filings with a predator's focus. Nate's typed claim for $2,600 in damages. Its pages crisp with dates, repair estimates, and a detailed recounting of the August 12th incident, laid out in stark black ink, his welder's precision shining through every line. Ellie's handwritten response, a single sheet claiming, "No intent, just anger." His pen tapping a slow, deliberate rhythm against his notepad. Each tap a signal he was sifting through their mess with a judge's stern eye, his voice cutting through the gallery's hum like a foghorn over the desert. Facts draw the line here, folks, every time I see it in this room. A claim's weight caught in the balance. Evidence decides it. Prove your case. I want specifics, not guesses, clarity, not chaos. Today, no whining, no waffling, just the truth. Plaintiffs up first. His drawl carried a firm, unyielding authority, his gaze shifting between them like a spotlight, probing for cracks, weighing their claims with a steadiness that brooked no evasion. His hands steady on the bench as he flipped through Nate's claim photos, estimates a recounting of the blazing noon. Then, Ellie's response, a slim sheet that seemed to shrink under his scrutiny, his lips thinning slightly as he read the dates, his blue eyes narrowing with a flicker of skepticism. Man claims, ruin woman. Claims, rage, truth's cost caught in the middle. I need proof, not please. Let's hear it. The gallery buzzed whispers, swelling like a rising tide. Retirees like Ed Grayson, a grizzled mechanic with a thermos of black coffee, muttering to his wife Clara, a retired clerk with a notepad clutched tight. She keyed it, pics don't lie, she's cooked. Young workers like Tara Mills, a cashier with a faded apron stuffed in her bag, whispering to her friend, Lena Ortiz, a barista with tired eyes and a nervous fidget. She's got spunk, might slip though. Nate's shop buddy, Sam Carter, lanky, with a faded cap pulled low, nudging his pal Luke. Ramsey, a welder with a thick beard and a skeptical grunt. She trashed it. Nate's solid judge'll see. Their voices a low hum of anticipation, a chorus threading through the tension, their bets and murmurs a backdrop to the courtroom's simmering storm, a pulse matching the crisp air, and the light's steady glow overhead, a rhythm that quickened as Nate stepped forward, his blue eyes locking onto Henry, his resolve a steel thread woven through his smug calm. Nate's jaw tightened, his fingers steady on his folder, his breath firm as he stood, his boots silent on the marble, the weight of his truck and justice anchoring his stance. Ellie's hands steadied her, green eyes flickering with defiance, her fiery edge faltering for a heartbeat. Henry's words, a gauntlet thrown their clash, now, a courtroom battlefield under his stern and unyielding eye, Tucson's blazing noon, a faint shimmer beyond the tall windows, its river dulled by haze, the city's quiet sprawl, a brooding witness to their unraveling truth. Nate Brooks took the stand first, climbing the steps with a steady gait that echoed softly off the marble floor. His clean t-shirt, crisp over his lean frame, its fabric pressed with the meticulous care of a man who'd spent 8 years welding steel into shape. His voice steady, yet edged with a quiet triumph that simmered beneath his smug demeanor. A fire stoked by weeks of reliving that scratch, the woman's sharp shout, the key scraped, the weight of his truck defaced in a Tucson heat. He swore, his hand firm on the Bible, its leather creased and soft from years of oaths a weight, grounding his resolve. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. He sat, hands resting on the rail, fingers tracing its worn grain, as he adjusted the microphone with a faint squeak, his blue eyes locking onto Henry, with a resolve tempered by years of crafting and claiming his short hair combed back. Swaying slightly as he leaned in, his breath steadying against the courtroom's crisp air, his voice threading through the stillness like a steel wire. She keyed liar on my truck, snapped the antenna photos. Prove it, she owes me $2,600. He slid his evidence across the stand with a deliberate motion. A thick folder of repair estimates, photos, witness affidavits, his voice steady, carrying across the room with a weight that filled the silence. A welder's precision cutting through the haze. August 12th this year, 12:45 p.m. Trailer park, she yells. Liar keys my hood rights. Liar. Snaps the antenna, 12:50 p.m. I grab her wrist. She bolts. Photos show it. Repair shop says. $2,600 witness. Neighbor saw her do it. Arizona. Revised statutes. 13 to 1602. Criminal damage intent clear. She trashed it, owes me. His words landed like a quiet thunderclap rippling through the gallery. His blue eyes unwavering. A calm storm of justice beneath his poise. The weight of his truck and fight spilling into his testimony. His welding years, a silent chorus. His breakup. A scar that fueled his stand, his resolve. A steel thread woven through his claim. His truck. A bond he'd forged. Henry leaned forward, his blue eyes sharp and unyielding, his pen poised over his notepad, its nib catching the light as he tapped it once, a signal he was slicing into the marrow of Nate's argument. His voice cutting dry through the crisp air like a scalpel through flesh. Photos clear, exact. What's it, Showtime marks? Prove it to me, not just your say. So I need the damage, not your story. Nate's hands steadied his voice firm, his blue eyes glinting with a fire that burned beneath his calm as he slid the photos forward, his fingers steady, despite the tremor of indignation. Here, August 12, 12:45 p.m. Hood scratched, liar. Antenna broke, 12:50 p.m. Neighbor snaps pics. Estimate $2,600 shop, confirmed witness statement. Saw her key. It clear as dust, she did it. Accident, prove it wasn't. How's it show intent, not just your word? Show me the rage, not her slip. Photos, liar. Carved antenna, snapped witness. She yelled, keyed texts, August 11th. You'll pay, no slip. She meant it, truths, plain. She raged. His voice rose slightly, a tremor of conviction breaking through his calm, his blue eyes glinting with a flicker of triumph beneath the resolve, his hands steady as he pointed to the photos, the weight of his loss spilling into his words, his welding grit a steady anchor, his breakup, a wound, now a weapon, his resolve, a fire that burned bright. Damages, cost specifics, why's it hers? Show me the harm, not just the truck. $2,600 repair bill shop invoice. Paying my ride. 13 to 1602 she damaged it texts. Show she planned harms, real justice. Says she pays truths heavy, she owes. His voice steadied again, his hands unclenching slightly, his blue eyes meeting Henry's sharp scrutiny, his resolve a steel thread beneath his calm. The courtroom holding its breath as he laid bare the stakes. His welding years a testament, his truck a bond. He'd forged his breakup. A scar, now, a victory. Henry scribbled, his voice dry as the Tucson dust outside his drawl, measured but piercing. Photos are steel, your take's solid, defendant's turn. I need facts, not fluff, go on. Ellie Harper rose from the table, her ascent swift and tense each step, thudding against the marble like a spark's echo, her black blouse tense over her lean frame. Her fiery edge a brittle mask, steady, but edged with defiance, as she swore, her hand firm on the Bible, its weight grounding her faltering resolve. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. She sat, hands gripping the rail, fingers digging into the wood, as she adjusted the microphone, her green eyes locking onto Henry with a defiance tempered by unease, her auburn bun swaying slightly, as she leaned in, her breath sharp with the sting of nerves beneath her calm, her voice threading through the stillness like a frayed wire. I was mad, keyed it, sure. But didn't mean it, no intent, just rage. He provoked me, no debt. She slid her evidence across with a shaky motion, a handwritten note, A few receipts, her voice steady, carrying across the room, with a weight that faltered under scrutiny. A bartender's bravado cutting through the haze. August 12th, 12:45 p.m. Trailer park, he yells, "Get out." I snap key his truck, liar, break the antenna. 12:50 p.m. he grabs. I run, no plan. Just heat note says lost it, receipts, show my cash, no intent, just a fight. Truth simple, I flared. Her words landed like a shaky flare, flickering, swaying through the gallery. Her green eyes flickering, with a mix of certainty and creeping doubt, a fragile storm beneath her poise. Her mind racing with the fallout. Barbette souring since Nate's suit hit her saloon life. A noose tightening her resolve, a fire that flickered beneath her strain. Henry's gaze sharpened his pen tapping once his voice slicing through. Intent exact, when, where, prove it wasn't planned, show me facts, not words. Ellie's hand steadied, her voice firm, her green eyes glinting with a fire that burned beneath her panic. 12:45 p.m. August 12th. Lot, he yells, I flare key at snap at 12:50 p.m. I bolt, no. Plan note says rage, receipts, my cash, no prep, just heat, not intent, truth's clear, I snapped. Damage, prove it less, how's it show, no cost. Not just your word. Show me the flare, not his fix. Note, lost it, no plan. Receipts, my cash buddy saw, yell, not key photos. His truck, my flare, no $2,600. Just anger, truth's plain, I flared. Her voice wavered, her hands clenching the note. Her green eyes flickering with a shadow of doubt beneath the defiance. The gallery holding its breath as her words stumbled. Her saloon grit, a fraying thread, her breakup. A wound she'd wielded, her resolve, a fire flickering low. Harm cost specifics. Why is it not yours? Show me the heat, not his hit. No harm meant. He provoked receipts. My cash, anger, not debt, $2,600. His greed, truth simple. I flared, not plan, justice says, no pay. Her voice steadied, her hands, unclenching her green eyes, pleading beneath the strain, the courtroom holding its breath. As she laid bare her fragile dodge, her bar life, a shield, now dust, her resolve, a flame snuffed out by proof. The courtroom crackled as witnesses took the stand, their voices threading through the crisp air like live wires sparking in the heat, each testimony. A jolt that fueled the mounting tension. Nate's neighbor, Clara Evans, a wiry retiree with a steady gaze and calloused hands from years tending a desert garden, testified first, climbing the stand with a calm step that belied the weight of her words, her voice steady, her brown eyes clear and unflinching. August 12th, 12:45 p.m. Trailer lot, I saw her yell, liar key, his truck snapped the antenna he grabbed, she ran clear, damage, no doubt. Henry leaned in, his blue eyes piercing. Exact time. What did you see, how'd she act? Prove it, not guess, show me the key, not her flare. Clara's hands rested steady on the rail, her voice firm. 12:45 p.m., August 12th. Lot 10 feet away, she yells, liar keys, liar, snaps antenna. 12:50 p.m., he grabs, she bolts photos. Match, I saw it, she meant it, no slip. Her words landed like a quiet hammer. The gallery shifting whispers, swelling, as she stepped down her garden nights, a silent witness to Ellie's rage, her testimony a steel thread in Nate's tale, her resolve a steady rock. Ellie's bar buddy, Sam Carter, followed his ascent. Slower boots scuffing the marble with a reluctant thud, his lanky frame hunched slightly under a faded flannel shirt. His quiet smirk fading as he swore, his hand heavy on the Bible. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. He sat, hands gripping the rail, fingers twitching as he adjusted the microphone, his blue eyes locking onto Henry with defiance, and a flicker of unease that danced beneath his lean frame. His voice gruff but steady, cutting through the air like a low growl. She yelled, August 12th, 12:45 p.m. Lot screamed, liar. No key, I saw, just rage, he grabbed, accident. Not damage, her fault, heat. He slid his thin papers across a scribbled note, his voice carrying a weight of certainty, though a faint crack betrayed his strain. 12:45 p.m. August 12th, Lot. 10 feet back, she yells, liar. He grabs, 12:50 p.m. She runs, no keynote says, screamed. Rage not, ruin truth, simple. She flared. Henry's gaze sharpened his pen, tapping once, his voice slicing through. Key exact when where prove it didn't happen. Show me facts, not words. Sam's hands steadied his voice firm, his blue eyes glinting with a flicker of defiance. 12:45 p.m., August 12th lot. She yells, he grabs 12:50 p.m., she's off, no keynote says yell. I saw rage, not scratch truths clear, she screamed. Damage prove it less. How's it show no mark? Not just your take, show me the yell, not his wreck. Note, screamed, no key, I saw her yell photos. Angles off dust heat, she flared, not keyed truths plain, she raged. His voice wavered, his hands clenching the note. His blue eyes flickering with a shadow of doubt. Beneath the defiance, the gallery holding its breath. As his words stumbled, his bar loyalty, a fraying thread since Ellie's fight, hit his bets, souring with her dodge. His resolve, a flame flickering low. Evidence clashed like thunderheads colliding Nate's photos. Time-stamped August 12th, 12:45:03 p.m. Captured the truck's hood, scratched liar antenna snapped. 12:45:07 p.m. Ellie, stepping back key in hand, clear as the Tucson sun repair estimate, $2,600 stood firm. Affidavits. Clara. Saw her key snap solid as stone. Arizona revised statutes, 13,602 criminal damage with intent. Ellie's note, raged no plan, and receipts paled beside the photos, a flimsy scrap against a tidal wave of truth. Sam's no key echoed Ellie, but crumbled under the photo's clarity, a thin reed bending under scrutiny. Nate's folder, swelled with shop receipts, a timeline tight as a welder's seam. Ellie's resolve, a frayed thread beneath her thin defense, her bar life, a shadow, now dust. Henry probed, his voice sharp as a blade, his blue eyes blazing like a storm breaking over the desert. Rage or ruin? Photos show ruin, why deny? Prove it to me, Ms. Harper, flare or fault, what's it say? Ellie's jaw tightened, her voice tense, defiance flaring. Rage. I yelled, flared, keyed it sure, but no plan photos. Heat not intent, he pushed me. Truth's plain, I snapped. Duh. Her hands clenched the rail, her green eyes flickering with a mix of certainty and panic. The gallery gasping as her words clashed with the photos. Silent truth. Her saloon life. A shield, now Asher breakup. A wound she'd wielded. Her resolve a fire snuffed by proof. Henry's gaze narrowed, his pen slashing the page. Photos refact your flare, Ben's next witness. I need steel, not smoke. The air thickened as the next witness was called. Nate's shopmate, Lena Ortiz, a wiry welder with a steady gaze and a soft Tucson drawl, climbed the stand, her testimony. A quiet counterpoint, her voice a steady thread in the storm. August 12th, 12:45 p.m. Lot saw her yell. Liar key, his truck snap it, he grabbed. She ran clear, damage, no doubt. Henry cut in. Exact when where prove it, not echo. What did you see? Lena's hands rested steady, her voice firm. 12:45 p.m. Lot 10 feet away, she yells keys, liar, snaps antenna 12:50 p.m. He grabs photos, match. I saw it, truth solid. She ruined. Henry's voice sharpened. Intent, explain it, why ruin? Why lie? Lena's gaze held. No lie, anger. She yelled liar. Keyed ruin, not flare, truth's plain. She meant it. The gallery murmured tension, coiling tighter. As Lena stepped down, her shop shifts a silent witness. To Nate's fight, her resolve a steady flame. A week of unrelenting heat testimony piled like cordwood on a blazing fire. Voices rose like thunder rolling over the Santa Cruz papers, shuffled into towering stacks, their edges curling in the crisp air, ink smudged from anxious hands. The courtroom, a crucible, simmering with sweat and strain, its air thick with the weight of words, and the gallery's murmurs swelling like a storm breaking over the city's adobe sprawl. Henry recessed daily, retreating to his chambers, a stark nook, with a scratched desk cluttered with files and a half-read novel. Its pages yellowed from years on the shelf. A window framing Tucson's skyline, crisp through a clear pane. The city's buildings and river dulled by morning frost. His coffee cooling untouched beside a stack of Arizona statutes and a worn legal pad, its pages scrawled with notes, timestamps, frames. His boots tapping a relentless rhythm against the hardwood as he paced his mind, sifting through the tangle with a judge's stern precision, weighing every word, every glance, every scrap of evidence against the emotional currents, swirling beneath like the river's hidden depths. Its flow steady but unseen, its silt muddying the truth. His ranch days, a distant grit. His law school nights, a steel guide. His Tucson years, a steady pulse. His resolve, a fire that burned steady. He returned on Monday, September 25th, his robe rustling as he climbed the bench, his voice firm, cutting through the room's hum like a blade, through silence. His blue eyes sweeping the gallery, then settling on Ellie with a weight that pinned her like stones under a desert's relentless sun. His presence a stern anchor in the storm, his drawl sharp and unyielding. Photos bind her $2,600 due. Pay him August 12th damage upheld. He leaned forward, his pen tapping once, a single resounding strike. His voice rising, his blue eyes blazing like a storm breaking over the desert. His words, a thunderclap that silenced the room. Evidence don't lie, Mrs. Harper, you do. Photos August 12, 12:45:03 p.m. Truck's hood scratched, liar antenna. Snap 12:45:07 p.m. You step back, key in hand, clear as dust. Estimate $2,600 affidavits. Clara saw her key snap. Lena yelled ruined. 13 to 16:02 intent clear. No flare. Your note raged, no plan, flops, photo steal. You did, you owe $2,600 due 30 days, truth's out, and it's heavy. Ellie sank into her seat, her green eyes dimming, her lean frame slumping, as if the air had been sucked from her lungs, her hands clenching her note until the paper tore a sharp rip, slicing the silence. Fault laid bare defiance, a shadow unmasked, a truth she couldn't shrug off, a burden now etched into her bones. Her fiery edge dissolving into a grimace, as the gallery's murmurs swelled around her like a tide, her saloon life, a noose. She'd tightened herself, her barbets, a fading echo, her resolve, oh, fire snuffed out her breakup, a wound now, a weight. Nate stood tall, his blue eyes softening, a flicker of triumph washing over him like a wave, breaking on shore, his hands unclenching on his folder, a weight lifting from his shoulders. Though the echo of that fight lingered, a shadow of justice reclaimed his truck and dignity, affirmed the courtroom's gasp, a chorus of awe as he stepped back. His mission, not just to win, but to mend a quiet strength, now, a beacon, his welding years, a silent testament, his breakup, a wound, now, a victory, his resolve, a steel thread that held firm. The gallery erupted in hushed awe, Ed muttering, "She's got it, Pixar King, she's cooked." Clara nodding. "Fair's fair, he nailed her." Tara whispering, "Told you truth wins, he's solid." Lena grinning, "He's a rock welder power." Sam, shaking his head, she flared honest heat. Luke, silent, his jaw tight. Henry's gavel fell a crisp thud, wood meeting wood, echoing like a vault slamming shut, silencing the storm. 2,600, due 30 days, case closed, facts clear. Mr. Brooks prevails. Next. Outside, Tucson shimmered under a dusk streaked with amber and violet. The air cooling as the sun sank below the horizon, its golden light glinting off the Santa Cruz River's faint ripples, casting a fleeting glow over the city's adobe skyline. The streets alive with the hum of evening traffic, and the distant pulse of coyotes fading into the night, the city's pulse. A steady beat beneath the glow, the air alive with whispers of justice, one the desert's breath, a quiet murmur. Nate drove off in his Ram, its white finish catching the last rays, his blue eyes glinting with relief, and a quiet triumph, his hands steady on the wheel, as he navigated the streets toward his trailer in saguaro shadows, the hum of the engine, a soft melody beside him, a future brighter yet still tender. His mind drifting to the fallout he'd won, headlines buzzing, welder wins $2,600 from ex-shop mates cheering his shift that night. Ellie's debt, a symbol of his resolve, his quiet strength, the spark that lit a fire of justice in Tucson's courts, his truck restored. A pause after the storm, yet a question lingered in the stillness. Would calm heal in Tucson's dust, or would fury's shadow stretch further, clawing back from the light he'd cast his welding years? A testament, his breakup. A wound now fading his resolve. A steady flame that burned bright. His truck a bond he'd reclaimed. Ellie faded into the courthouse lot. Her pickup parked crooked against a saguaro. Its faded finish dulled by dusk. Her green eyes hard with a flicker of disbelief. Her lean frame slumped against the door. Her hands gripping her keys with a force that whitened her knuckles. Tension unspent, a storm brewing beneath her silence. Her sharp voice muttering to the wind. I flared, I saw it, damn pics are wrong. A shadow of doubt she couldn't shake clung to her. A fault she couldn't shrug off, a burden now etched into her stride as she climbed in and drove west toward her apartment in Midtown. Her taillights fading into the crisp golden glow. A bartender's fire shattered by a debt's cost. A question trailing behind her like exhaust fumes in the night air. Could she reclaim calm from a moment's rage, or would the debt she'd forged swallow her whole? A casualty of the truth she'd failed to see her bar bets. Dust her saloon life, a fading echo, her truck await. She'd bear her resolve, a fire now. Ash her breakup, a wound that lingered still. She'd face the payment, her rage a noose. She'd tightened, yet her echo lingered in Tucson's backlots. A cautionary tale for those who'd watched her saloon nights. A shadow that faded slow. Henry drove home to his ranch house on the city's edge. Its adobe walls catching the last golden rays. Before dusk swallowed them, the Santa Cruz River. A shimmering silhouette against the sky. Its edges blurring into shadow. The saguaros along its banks, whispering in the breeze. His sedan rumbling over asphalt. Its tires humming a steady tune, as he pondered would calm men between a welder and a town bound by a scratch's violent turn. Would justice's weight soften, or drift further into the dusk like a lesson half-learned, a bond unhealed his ranch days, a distant grit, his law school nights, a steel guide, his Tucson years, a steady pulse, his rulings a testament to justice's grind, his Yuma roots a quiet flame that burned steady, his resolve a fire that held firm. The horizon stretched, Arizona's desert whispering, under a sky deepening to indigo, the river glinting faintly, a mirror to his thoughts. What heals a scar carved by rage? What waits in the crisp golden glow for a woman with fire and a man with proof? What lessons linger in the cool air for a scratch that broke trust, but not his steel? Ellie's debt a testament, Nate's truck. A lingering echo, Henry's justice, a quiet call that rang true. A question that shimmered still. A question hung open and vast, shimmering, in Tucson's quiet night. A truth unresolved. A story trailing into the dusk. Its next chapter, waiting beyond the courtroom, beyond the river, beyond the glow that settled over the city, like a promise, yet to unfold, a whisper of what might rise from the ashes of a blazing noon's reckoning. Ellie's fire, a fragile ember. Nate's steel, a steady flame. Henry's justice, a quiet murmur that lingered on. Thank you all for watching this video. Please comment and let me know what you think about this story. Please like and subscribe to watch more great content on my channel.